to The Final Score with Stevie Foughty.
What's up, guys? It's The Final Score. Third night in a row, guys. Third night in a row, you get to look at this ugly mug live on Facebook. So, we've had one show about the NHL Monday night. Last night was about softball, high school softball. Tonight we get back to my love. We get back to the NFL. We get back to NFL football, and it may not be a team that I care that much about because guess what? They're a division rival. It could be worse, and I'm talking to you right now, Tony. It could be worse. It could be the Baltimore Ravens.
That's true. Very true.
Tonight, with us tonight, making his debut appearance on the Final Score, is Mr. Bruce Foughty from the Hooked On Sonix podcast. What's up, dude?
What's up, Stevie? Thanks so much for having me on here. Really excited. I don't get a chance to talk a whole lot of sports, let alone my favorite dysfunctional team, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, that's right, guys. We are going to do, as much as it pains me to do this stuff. But you know what? I didn't have that hard a time making my list. It came down to when I was picking through the list, I was like, no, I don't want him on there. I didn't have to narrow it down too much. There was only a few of the Cincinnati Bengals that I picked to go on there. This is top 10 favorite Bengals. This is not who we think the top 10 best Bengals of all team are. These are our favorite Bengals. So if you want to make a list about who you think the best Bengals are, go ahead. This is our list. So thanks, Dave, for the like of here on StreamYard. You guys get your comments in if you want to chime in with your list, who you think is one of the top best Bengals or favorite Bengals of yours. I can guarantee you two names that are not going to be on my list tonight. One of them is a old video game, Pac-Man Jones, then the always controversial. I'm not saying sometimes, always controversial. Vontez Burfict. They will not be on my list tonight. Maybe if we do most hated, they would be there, but not tonight. But Bruce, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the Hooked On Sonix podcast, what you guys do, because I think we started chatting back and forth probably about a year or so ago, and I know I found out about you through the Shout Out Loudcast group.
Yeah,
you guys you're in there posting a lot, and saw the Hooked On Sonix podcast, and guys, you really need to check this podcast out if you haven't already. But tell us a little bit about that Hooked On Sonix podcast and your co-host.
Yeah,
that will be, guys. Go ahead and get ready because we will see Bruce again next week with his co-host. So I'm not giving away what that episode's gonna be about, but
not yet.
About that.
Yeah, so essentially, Hooked On Sonix, me and Vito Capone. My best friend since kindergarten.
Wow.
And maybe before that, I lost track of time somewhere in 78, whatever. But anyway, me and him, we are a lot of times on different spectrums musically, and sometimes we kind of converge in the middle. And we give each other album reviews, stuff that we're personally digging, and then we talk about each of those albums. And we also do a lot of music or interviews with different artists. The powerful and attractive Wes Beach from the Plasmatics, who's been a guest on your show as well. He's a friend of ours and's been on multiple times. Keith Roth from Sirius XM, The Dictators, Steve Conti with the Michael Monroe Band, lots of great guests. India Ramey, if you're into the country music, which I know you are, she'd be a great guest for you. Super personable, fantastic songwriter. So yeah, that's what we do. We're in our 4th season. We are available everywhere that you get your podcasts. And yeah, we're just loving it.
Yeah, I was able to get on. The first time I got on the Hooked On Sonix was an unfortunate time. We lost Ace Frehley, the lead singer for Kiss, and both of us are big time Kiss fans.
Mm-hmm.
I have been since what, 5? As long as I've been a Steelers fan, I've been a Kiss fan. And
Yeah.
Ace was always my favorite. I had the Halloween costume that I wore like 3 years in a row at Halloween. People were looking at me like, "This, what is wrong with this dude?" But when it finally got so tattered, I
You
couldn't.
were popping out at the seams, and got a
Yeah,
little weird.
and I mean, I've told this story before. Wanted so much to be like Ace. Had the old white toy guitar back in the day, and
Oh yeah.
you'd always have the Alive or Alive 2 on your turntable and play along with it. Well, I decided one day, guess what? I'm gonna take it to the next level. I'm gonna put a smoke bomb in the freaking guitar. Doofus, boom! Didn't think what what heat does to plastic, right? It ended up in a big white glob of plastic. I could kick myself for being so stupid.
Yeah,
But
it'll never play the same.
Nope. Couldn't even see the faces or anything up there. That was all gone. I was like, gosh, no. And I told my mom about it years later. She was like, well, that was stupid on your part. But anyway.
Can you imagine how much one of those is worth in good shape now? Oh.
If I had all the stuff between Kiss and Star Wars that I had back in the day in good condition, I wouldn't be working right now.
No kidding.
The Star Wars stuff would get thrown across the yard.
Yeah.
And I still have some of my Star Wars stuff, but nothing that's like earth shattering or anything like that.
Oh yeah.
So let's get into the topic of the night.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals. And how did you come to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan?
Well, I am originally from Columbus, Ohio, and so growing up, the only 3 teams you could root for would be the Ohio State Buckeyes, which that's a given. You got to root for the Buckeyes, or Cleveland or Cincinnati on the pro level. There's no way, with as bad as the Bengals have been throughout their history. There's no way I could actively root for the Browns. So I remember it very vividly. I think it was Super Bowl 23, the second Super Bowl they were in against the 49ers. My dad was a huge Joe Montana fan. Huge. Oh, yeah. And so I automatically just, globbed onto the Bengals because they were against the 49ers. That's all I cared about, But watching Boomer Esiason and them just, man, what a magical season. And I was hooked. I was hooked on the Bengals ever since. And I did want to do a little show and tell. I still got my original Bengals clock from 1988 that I got for Christmas. There. Yep.
That's awesome. There.
I don't have much Bengals memorabilia left, but I've always held on to that.
I just remember how cool it was, as a kid, and not really getting into the big rivalries at that time like I do now. Mm-hmm. I just remember how cool it was when the Bengals dropped the Bengals off the side of the helmet and put the stripes.
The B. Oh yeah, those stripes were the best.
Gosh, it was like it was a whole different team then, because they were. Mm-hmm. I mean, they had some good teams, but nothing like what they were when they put the stripes on. It was like that was the first year they went to the Super Bowl against the 49ers.
Yep.
And man, what a game that second Super Bowl was. I thought the Bengals had it, but here comes Montana. What can you do?
I still say that pass that it was right before the touchdown. I still say Jerry Rice was out of bounds.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So that's my 12-year-old brain is stuck on that, and that's what I'm sticking with. So, but yeah, ever since then I've just been stuck on the Bengals. There was a couple couple of years during the Klingler era
Oh God.
and the Shula era.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a game. I flirted with a couple other teams, but my heart belonged in Cincinnati.
Well, you definitely made the right pick if you had to pick between the Bengals and the Browns, because I've said it many times. The Browns could screw up a 2-car funeral if you give them a chance. They screw up everything. They every time they have a chance at success, they find a way to screw it up.
Yeah, but I will say, like in the early '90s, the late '80s, early '90s.
Oh yeah,
where Cleveland was actually pretty good. They had, they went to the AFC Championship. What was that? It was 88 or 91. I can't remember. Anyway, but like when the rivalry meant something, when it was like, I want that. I want them to be good enough to where the rivalry means something, where there's something in the game, but I don't want them to actually win anything.
Where beating them means something again.
That's right.
It'd be like Sam Weiss coming back. Lord, that was my favorite Cincinnati coach, where he comes out and says, tells the crowd, "Stop doing this. You don't live in Cleveland."
That might come back up later in the show, I think. Maybe. We'll see.
That was so great. But Sam Weiss, I just remember, and sometime for Christmas, because I was always getting, like I said, for Christmas presents, it was always football, Kiss. As a kid, Star Wars, but football and Kiss would show up later on. But I got some kind of best of video for NFL, and the first time I saw it, Sam Weiss was the backup quarterback for the '72 Redskins, and they're playing the Cowboys, and they show him on the sidelines, and the guy for the Cowboys gets hurt. He said, "Die, you dirty dog, die!" And I was like, "That's Sam Weiss." I wouldn't know that voice anywhere from. You don't live in Cleveland.
And before that, Sam was the quarterback for the Bengals for like 2 years.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
68 to 70.
Well, some quarterbacks might come up on my list. And
there you go.
So, and might surprise you a little bit there, but so let's get right into this.
Yeah,
since you're the guest, I'll let you go first. We'll start off with your number 10.
All right, my number 10. This is going to be for a lot of people, it might be a what the hell? But my number 10 pick is Dave Lapham. He was an offensive lineman from 74 to 83, but I love him more as the color commentator on the Bengals radio network.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Dude, he is, when the team is sucking, he gives it to them, and it's great. Like, his passion, he's just so fun to listen to. And, when they're winning, he's right in it. Like he's still in the game. So, I just love Dave Lapham's energy and his knowledge and just how he breaks things down. Makes listening to the Bengals just a little bit easier. So number 10 for me, Dave Lapham.
Now, I will tell you this. I got the interview a guy that played for Pittsburgh in the 80s, and he became part of the radio crew, and he's no longer with us anymore. But one of the best interviews, one of the best compliments I ever got was from Craig Wolfley. I don't know if you remember, played offensive line for the Steelers in the 80s. He told me when he agreed to do the interview, "You got 20 minutes." And I'm just thinking to myself, God, I can't get all I want to in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That 20 minutes turned into about an hour and a half. And I told him after it was over, I said, "I guess we tore that 20 minutes out of it. I'm sorry about that." He said, I tell these people that, so if it's bad, I can get out of it. He said, "But within the first 5 minutes of this, I knew you knew what you were talking about." He said, "And I had a great time." And me and him would talk back and forth. Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite interviews up there with Craig Wolfley. But nice. I understand what you're talking about there. So my number 10, we're gonna get some cold cuts going. We're gonna get some cold cuts. Straight out of UNLV, the Icky Shuffle master, Mr. Icky Woods.
That's right.
And I was at that time when he was a Bengal, I was like, okay, I don't like the Bengals that much, but they're not so bad. But they were beating us, and I didn't like that. But to see him doing the icky shuffle on the sideline, that caught fire. And now, you know, matter of fact, not too long ago, my daughter did a TikTok with her cousin that she does a podcast with, and she pops in the back of the truck. She said, "Go give me some cold cuts," and she's doing the whole thing in the back of the car. So I was like, "There goes Icky Woods right there." But yeah, I mean, he had a great career with the Bengals. He's part of the 40th anniversary team.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have that. I mean, you look at his rushing yards. Only had 1,500 yards rushing, but he had 27 touchdowns. So a short career. I just remember the Icky Shuff when that crowd just loving it. But yeah, number 10 for me is Icky Woods.
Yeah, and he might come up later on my list, but like he only played 37 games, and injuries just screwed him up. Injuries. So
one of my co-hosts on another podcast is chiming in. Favorite Bengals: Brian Pillman, Jeff Blake, and Susanna Hobbs. That's the Bengals there, and he's being funny. But Kyle, I knew he would chime in before long.
I will agree with 2 out of 3.
A lot of people don't realize Brian Pillman, Flying Brian, or the loose cannon, was a part of the Bengals back then. He was one of the special teams guys.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, good call there.
Great hair.
Yeah, great hair. I mean, the Hollywood blonde.
Yeah, that's right. Susanna Hobbs, too. Kyle. Salute.
Susanna Hobbs, we'll. I do like Susanna Hobbs. I mean, no,
you should.
She still looks hot to this day, boy. Good.
And still putting out good music.
Yes. But all right, what's your number 9?
All right, number 9 for me. This guy, he is a Ohio State legend. He took over the Bengals rushing from another Ohio State legend. Archie Griffith was a Cincinnati Bengal for a couple years after he won the Heisman twice. And then who took over? Pete Johnson, 77 to 83. Pete was an absolute touchdown scoring machine, man. 64 touchdowns, but he only had like little over 5,000 yards rushing for the Bengals. Yeah. So like when you're in short yardage situations, dude, he was your cannonball. And just a great guy all around. Lived in the Columbus area for a long time. I'm pretty sure if he hasn't passed away, I know he was dealing with some health issues not too long ago.
He's still living.
Yeah. But man, what a great human being. And again, watch some Pete Johnson highlights. The dude was just a machine. Fun to watch.
At that time period, you had 2 guys that wore the same number and were pretty much the same kind of running back. The guys you didn't want to get in the way of, Pete Johnson and Chuck Muncie at the Chargers. Those guys were like, just like you said, just like putting a bomb in there, just exploding through the line. Short yardage, that was the guy to go to. He might come up a little bit later in my list. I'll just say that. My number 9, and this guy was like one of the unsung heroes of the Bengals, and he was there for 14 years. He played linebacker, a smart guy. He went to Dartmouth. Reggie Williams, just a guy that, I mean, I always liked, for some reason, that was one of the Bengals I always liked. We're number 57. I had some big plays in that Super Bowl. The second Super Bowl, got to Montana a couple of times, but at Man of the Year in '86, 40th and 50th anniversary team. He was a Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year in '87. Overcame a hearing disability and was able to
what?
Overcome a hearing disability. That was wrong. Cold blood, like Rick James, cold blooded. But yeah, and he's active on Facebook. I'm friends with him. I see him post a lot up there. But yeah, so my number 9 is Reggie Williams.
Nice. I wish I remembered him. For what
Yeah, you watch it Super Bowl again, you'll see him up there. He makes some plays from there, and he was a pretty good player.
Yeah, sounds like it. That's awesome.
Number 8 for you.
Number 8. Again, this guy, another running back, maybe classified as a fullback. I can't remember, but it was the 1-2 punch between him and Icky, and this is James Brooks. Their workhorse for the majority of the 80s, 84 to 91, 37 touchdowns, almost 6,500 yards, 1,300 attempts. Just, God, fun. He was just fun to watch. Could spin out of anything. Like everyone thinks about Barry Sanders and some of his moves, which were fantastic. But don't sleep on James Brooks, man. He had some moves.
He will be later in my list as well. I'll get into some James Brooks stuff later in the list because he was definitely one of my favorites at the Bengals. My number 8. You guys had a spell there in the mid 90s to early 2000 era where you guys had some really good wide receivers.
Yes.
You had a good tandem there. Both of them make my list, but the first one is Darnay Scott.
Oh, yes.
This guy came pretty much out of nowhere. Second round pick from San Diego State. And you put him with Carl Pickens on the other side, and you had something there. I don't know how you guys didn't win more games with that. I don't know if it was lack of a running game. Jeff Blake was there. He would throw the moon ball, and he was on fire for a while there. He just couldn't keep it going. But I've actually, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Actually hoping that I can manage a way to get Darnay Scott on the show.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yes, I've got a contact. I'll put it that way, but it just hasn't worked out yet. But Darnay Scott finishes with over 6,000 yards receiving, 37 touchdowns, and big part of that Bengals offense back from 95 to 2001. I did not realize he finished his career with the Cowboys for 1 year, but I don't think he made such a splash with the Cowboys.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. No, yeah, Darnay Scott for sure. He was one of those bright spots in a load of mediocrity. Yeah, great pick.
Yeah. Those number 7 for you.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got this next guy. He is currently with the team. He's been with them since 2020. I'm in East Tennessee now. He is an alumni of your Tennessee Volunteers, and I'm giving you T. Higgins. Dude, this kid, he is so fun to watch. And, his work ethic is just off the charts. He was a great player for UT. Just in his short career, he's got 45 touchdowns, a little over 5,400 yards with him. So, yeah, the future looks really bright with old T there. So,
and before you guys locked him in, there was actually talk that Pittsburgh was going to make a run at him in free agency, which I would love to see that. We would definitely take T. But it's bad. You talk about he's got 5,400 yards receiving, but he gets overshadowed by your other receiver. But man, he's
clutch.
What a dynamic duo. I mean, you can't go wrong with if they double team the other one. T. Higgins is going to be open. He comes up with the big plays. So.
Yep, absolutely.
There was only one current player that I had on the team, so on my list. So I'll get to that.
Okay,
just a couple more, I think. My number 7 is our first repeat of the night. Pete Johnson.
Yeah.
And you pretty much said everything about him, but man, as a kid watching that, I mean, when you saw him line up in the backfield, you were like, somebody's about to get run over. I mean, that as big as that guy was and as fast as he was, that should have been illegal. And to see, you talk about James Brooks. Pete Johnson gets traded to San Diego for James Brooks. I mean, so that was a surprise to me, but I'll get into that a little bit when I talk about James Brooks in a few minutes. But that was kind of a surprise to me. But I understand now why they did it, why Brooks wanted to go somewhere else. But
yeah,
we'll get to that in a few minutes. But yeah, Pete Johnson is my number 7. But let's get your number 6.
All right. For a lot of people, this might be a little low, but for the other people that I got in here, he's just about right. I've got him on my cup right here. Compliments the skyline. Joe Burrow. Look,
I mean,
Joe has had some problems the last couple of years. I don't think he's been all right. I don't think he's been the same since that last injury there. There's something missing, and but when he was on, when they went to the Super Bowl, God bless. Even when he played 1 year at Ohio State, and dude, why they got rid of him? Well, I know why they got rid of him, because it's like they had so much other talent too. It's like, yeah, dude, go to LSU. I mean, we get it. And that worked out well for everybody. But Joe Burrow, man, if he can just get it together, if he can work through if he can get healthy again and get mentally right again, dude, sky's the limit for him. Especially with this receiving core, and the defense needs to do a little bit better, but
a little bit.
But
when you look that offense, when you've got those two, and freaking Joe Flacco can come out there and light it up, you got a good offense, and when you score 40 points, you expect to win a game.
Yeah,
but. And I'll say this, because I'm going to ask you a little bit about your outlook for next season, which is kind of early because we haven't even done the draft or free agency yet. Combine starts tomorrow. But
wow.
Yeah, they start
time
the Combine
flies.
Tomorrow. Before you know it, it's going to be mock draft time, and that's one of my favorite times of the year is the mock draft. I've been doing one with – there's a guy that's kind of like my mentor. He had a radio show on local radio. Every year for the draft, I would come in the studio. We do a mock draft. We've been doing it for I want to say it's 15 or 16 years now. And now I do it on he's still got a radio show, but we do it on the podcast here. So we're keeping that going. All right. My number 6. And this is it's going to be quarterbacks for a couple of picks here. And this guy always worried me when he played, because this was back in the day with the helmets with the double bar right here. And I watched him one night, a defensive end for the Steelers. I think it was Keith Willis. I thought he had killed Ken Anderson on Monday Night Football.
Man.
He twisted his head in ways that your neck should not go in that direction.
Yeah.
But Ken Anderson, man, this guy doesn't get enough credit for what he's done, and growing and looking at some of this stuff as Anderson as a player. I didn't realize MVP in 81, Offensive Player of the Year 81, Comeback Player of the Year in 81. He just got the trilogy there. But the guy, he just lit it up. 2 times NFL pass leaders in 70, 74, 75. And led the Bengals with the stripes to that two games in that playoffs that year, right in a row. The Chargers and the Dolphins in that probably the greatest playoff game I've ever watched in my life with Kellen Winslow's name. But then the Freezer Bowl the next week. Oh my gosh! I sat there and watched that game, and I felt, as a kid, I'm 8 years old, but I'm feeling so bad for them guys. And to hear the stories now of that, but everybody says, well, the Bengals were used to it. There's no way you were used to that cold. There was,
no.
I mean, I know I realize San Diego is not used to cold, but that was beyond cold, dude. I mean, I forget how much, what the below zero it was out there, but guys were talking. There was one guy, and I cannot remember his name now, and I hate it, that played for the Chargers. He was a special teams guy, played running back too. He said he was talking about that game and coming out there on the field, and he was like, words cannot describe how cold it was that day. But man, Ken Anderson, and he finally wises up and joins the Steelers as quarterbacks coach from 2007 to 2009. I don't know if people realize that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he got a Super Bowl ring with the Steelers. 2008. So there you go, Cincinnati fans.
Yeah.
We gave Ken Anderson a Super Bowl ring.
So thanks.
Ken Anderson, that's one of the guys that, I mean, honestly, I think is so underrated as a Bengal. Doesn't get talked about as much as a quarterback in the NFL during his era.
No, I agree. I'll tell you a quick little Ken Anderson story. So my father-in-law was a huge Cincinnati fan, whether it was the Reds or the Bengals or whatever. And we had to go up to Cleveland for some testing and stuff, and didn't get great news. And so we're trying to cheer my father-in-law up. And I said, well, hey, why don't we go to the Football Hall of Fame?
Oh, wow.
And he was like, yeah. And we searched all over. The only thing he really wanted to see, he wanted to see Ken Anderson's, Hall of Fame thing. Ken Anderson is not in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, let me tell you though, there's guys worse than him that don't deserve to be in there. Ken Anderson should be in the Hall of Fame. I think. I mean,
no, absolutely, and I think maybe someday he'll get in, but yeah. But I do have an autographed picture from Ken Anderson somewhere in my stack of stuff that I gotta dig up. So
looking at listen to his 32,000 passing yards.
Wow.
197 touchdowns, passer rating of 81.9, 59% completion rate. I mean, there's guys like that have half of that are in the Hall of Fame right now.
Do me a favor, since you got the old Google machine up. Look up Phil Simms' stats.
I got you. I guarantee it's not as good as that because he did not play. Oh, we're wrong. 33,462, 199 touchdowns, passer rate of 78.8. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
So I see your point here. If he's got those stats, but you know what they're going to say, and this is what, excuse my language here, this is what the bullshit about the Hall of Fame is. Mm-hmm. 1 minute they'll tell you the difference is the Super Bowl wins. Next minute they'll say, well, no, with so and so, no, it's not that, it's stats. Make up your freaking mind. Mm-hmm. I mean, if his stats, it used to kill me because Donnie Shell, Steelers, it took him. I got to interview him on the show right before he got the Hall of Fame call. Mm-hmm. But what killed me was a year before, Champ Bailey gets put in. And granted, deservedly so.
Really?
But Donnie Shell's stats were better, just a little bit better than Champ Bailey's. Mm-hmm. How many Super Bowls did Champ Bailey win? Big zero.
Yeah.
Donnie Shell, 4.
Was that Art Shell's brother?
No,
No.
he was this different Shells. But
Okay.
Donnie Shell, I'm gonna tell you, if you ever saw Earl Campbell play, Donnie Shell, going back and watching some of these old Steelers games now, Donnie Shell lit Earl Campbell up one night. I remember watching. I mean, when the internet come along, YouTube,
Yeah.
Donnie Shell hit Earl Campbell one night, lifted him up, broke his ribs, and I was as tough as Earl Campbell is. I think Earl Campbell talked about Donnie Shell being one of the hardest hitters he ever faced. Him and Jack Tatum, but so yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, and I know just like with the whole Bill Belichick deal this year, there, as much as I dislike Belichick, he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
And you're not, when you do a job, I mean both of us work. We've been in the workforce for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to let your personal feelings get in the way of what you do business with.
Right.
But these sports writers, they've got the power, and they do it. I mean, Belichick, I don't know if it's with Spygate, Deflategate, or the way he handled the press sometimes, but he's got, and it's the same thing with Robert Kraft, too. I mean, Robert Kraft should have been in the Hall of Fame, but if Jerry Jones is in there, then Robert Kraft should be in there. But,
yeah, both equally creepy and
yeah, really. I don't know.
Lovers of massages. I mean, who doesn't love a good massage? I'm not faulting them. However,
and girlfriends old enough to be your daughter. I mean,
yeah. Listen, here's my general rule of thumb: if I got T-shirts older than you, we're good.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson. Yeah, that's another Ken Anderson, another wrestler rep there. But I know, good job, Kyle. Kyle is on point tonight. All right, so we talked about that long enough. Your number, what are we on? Number 5.
Yeah. Breaking in the top 5. One of the most dynamic, controversial, pain in the ass players.
Oh, God.
But, man, you just couldn't deny the talent if he could just shut his mouth long enough.
I know who you're talking about.
That's right. The man with multiple personalities and names, Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
Dude, he was fun, man. When before it got out of control, God, he was so fun to watch. And he was, he's just fun. He the way he would his drive, his dedication, he put his body on the line every single play. Man, great player. 67 touchdowns, a little over 11,000 yards. He's with the Bengals for 9 years. So,
yeah, he was there for a long time. And I remember his rookie year. I didn't have a clue who he was, but I did a fantasy draft, and I guess I auto picked, and I got Chad Johnson in there. And every week I'm looking at the bottom line down here with the Bengals games and stats. Chad Johnson, looking up numbers. I'm like, who the heck is this guy? And then I found out real quick who he was when he played the Steelers because, man, he like you said, before he got out of hand, and, he was entertaining.
Yeah.
Like Kyle, I'll use one of your lines. He was an entertaining MFer, for sure. But, man, so talented. Talented. And then when you put him with Hushmanzada and Carson Palmer with that group there, and Chris Henry. I mean, Chris Henry, if he could have just
forgot about Chris Henry, absolutely.
If he could have just kept his stuff straight, that guy had so much talent. So much talent.
Yeah.
Late great Chris Henry, by the way, rest in peace. But
yeah,
that was a good Bengal squad there.
Yeah, and now again, Palmer wasn't the same after that hit he took from Chemo von Oelhoffen. Yeah, you talk about heartbreak.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
Kitna was okay. He wasn't.
Kitna was no Carson Palmer.
No, and he did the best he could. But Come on. That was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. But yeah, imagine if Carson could have stayed healthy with that
Oh, yeah.
receiving core.
Well, you know who did that for y'all though, and he would be on my most hated list too. Hushmanzada did that when he took the terrible towel and cleaned his shoes off at Heinz Field that day. The terrible towel curse.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Hushmanzada is not on my list. Again, very good player, but man, I never liked watching him. I was never a fan of his at all. So just crap attitude. So
yeah. Nate Matthews, thank you for showing us some love tonight. Appreciate it.
All right.
So my number 5 is another repeat. You just talked about him a few minutes ago, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I hated to see the Bengals get Joe Burrow because I knew after watching him at LSU what that was going to mean. And my only hope was, I hope this guy is just one of those guys that is a great college quarterback and sucks in the NFL. But that quickly faded away because, and you're right, ever since he's had some of these injuries, he hasn't been the same mentally. Too. This past season especially, he had glimpses, but I'm like you. There's something missing. I don't know if it's confidence or what, but there's something missing. But man, that run he had the year you guys went to the Super Bowl against the Rams, that second half against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to do what he did, man, that's when I said, yeah, this guy's something special right here. He's the NFL quarterback for sure. And I just hope, and I know this is blasphemy, all you Steelers fans out there listen to me now. I just hope he can have some success again. I mean, because he's a good player. Watch him at LSU turn me into a fan because he just commanded that offense. He had weapons. He had Chase there. But, man, this is and they call him Joe Cool, and deservedly so because, I mean, that AFC Championship game, I just keep going back to that. I could go back and watch it. I'm not a Bengals fan or a Chiefs fan, but I could go back and watch that game just to see the performance he did in the second half of that game especially.
Yeah, absolutely. Just what he was able to put together in such a short amount of time to be able to grasp reading all these different, NFL defenses to really take command of this team. It was amazing to watch, and we're pulling for him for sure.
Yeah,
because we had nothing. We had nothing in the pipeline.
No, and I don't know. Which we'll get into that when we finish our list.
Yeah,
your number 4 pick.
Number 4 for me is the guy who's just slightly better. He was with them for 9 years as well. That is AJ Green.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about AJ.
Yeah, that's right, man. Again, before injuries.
Yeah.
He was something special. He had 70 touchdowns, little over 10,000 yards, and he had Andy Dalton as a quarterback. So he's about the only one that could make Andy Dalton look good.
Oh, come on now. Dalton had some good years.
Yeah, because of AJ Green. The Ginger Ninja, Andy Dalton.
That ain't what I call. What do they call him? The red
rifle? The red rifle. I call him the Ginger Ninja. He's fine.
Ginger Ninja.
But look at him everywhere else he's gone to. I think Carolina. I think he's still in Carolina.
Yeah, there. I was reading something one day this week that Carolina's actually getting calls for him to be traded. Teams are asking if he's available to be traded. I guess they're thinking the Flacco deal. Maybe they can catch lightning in a bottle like Flacco. But Dalton's had his day. I mean, really, he's had his day. And he's probably a good backup now as long as he wants to be carrying a clipboard and maybe filling in here and there. But being a starter, no, his days are starting or over with unless somebody's hurt.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
You mean
But-
Dalton's not on your list?
No, God, no. No, there's not too many Bengal quarterbacks that really excite me.
Well, I mean, you had a good run. I mean, you had Ken Anderson went straight to Boomer Esiason.
Yeah,
David
And-
Klingler. I mean, come on, Achilles Smith.
yeah. Jeff Blake, Neil
Hey.
O'Donnell.
Oh, good Lord. Neil O'Donnell, I'm going to tell you this, and people hear me this. Neil O'Donnell's got an oil well in Texas somewhere that Jerry Jones gave him for throwing that Super Bowl and I think Larry Brown chipped in some money too because Neil O'Donnell made him a millionaire. He never did anything again, but you talking about heartbreak for a different reason.
Mm-hmm.
We got all the momentum in the world, and then all of a sudden O'Donnell just throws. I was like, well, who is he throwing it to? He couldn't have been throwing it to nobody but Larry, and does it twice.
Yeah.
Talking to some of the Steelers that won that team, and I always asked them, I said, what was it like in the locker room after that Super Bowl? And some of them were like, I didn't want to get anywhere close to them.
Yeah.
Was
Was that against the Packers?
No, that was against the Cowboys.
Okay.
Because Larry Brown is one of the.
That's right.
Larry Brown is one of the. I think it could be with the Walker guy from Seattle being MVP and going in free agency. I think it's like 4 of them that were MVP of the Super Bowl and left the team the next year. He went to the Raiders, and you never heard him.
No.
But if Walker will learn anything from it, all of these guys that left and went to another team after they were MVP, their career went. Dwight Smith from the Buccaneers went to. Why would you leave? And I know the answer, but why would you leave Tampa Bay after you just won a Super Bowl and go to Arizona?
Ugh.
Money. It's got to be. But I mean, and he's never heard from again either. So
No.
I mean, it is what it is.
Ugh.
All right. So my number 4 is another repeat, and this guy could have been higher on the list,
Mm-hmm.
but James Brooks. I
Yeah.
just remember James Brooks the first time I've seen him as a Charger with his face mask. His face mask was different than any other face mask I'd ever seen, and he was more with the Chargers a return specialist. Man, was quick as lightning. I mean, when I saw him with the Chargers, he would take kicks back. He was a great return guy, but he was stuck in San Diego behind Chuck Muncie.
Okay.
Yeah, he was stuck, and that's why he wanted to leave. But then Muncie, it doesn't make you sick because Muncie retires because you go straight. Oh, well, Muncie may have went to somewhere else. But you go Pete Johnson for James Brooks.
Yeah.
Why not just stick with James Brooks as your back? Put him in there with Dan Fouts. You got to weaponize the backfield with, you can throw to him. You had Kellen Winslow. You had Charlie Joyner, Wes Chandler then, which after the whole John Jefferson deal. Man, why give him to the – and Pete Johnson was not saying he was over the hill, but he was an older running back.
Oh, yeah. Especially back then, like running backs, dude, they had running backs in general have a very short shelf life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're allowed to hit back then, those guys got murdered.
So 58. He was, when he went to Cincinnati in 84, 26 when they traded. So you got a 26-year-old, and I'm sure, he came in the league in 81? Yeah, 81. So Johnson was probably 75, 76.
Yeah, 77.
So 4 years there.
Mm-hmm.
You got a 4-year man, and you give it up. Why? That always puzzled me with the Chargers why they did that. But man, what a move for the Bengals! This guy becomes the workhorse for the Bengals. I mean, he's having big games. Had a big career with them, and then like you said, that 88 season when him and Icky were like the 1-2 punch.
Yep.
It's evidently Brooks must have got most of the yards because Icky didn't get a whole lot. But then they put it. I guess what they would call fantasy guys would call Icky a vulture like now. But
Well, here, hold on a second. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, no,
you know, he was just a talent, man. I mean, I always enjoyed watching James Brooks play. Uh,
Yep.
one of my favorite running backs from that era, too. But yeah, and I hated to see him in the Bengals because he always beat up on the Steelers. But anyway, all right, you're number 3.
And number 3, we're going to get right back into Icky there. He's my number 3 player. Again, he only had 37 games with the Bengals, 15 touchdowns, and those were, the bulk of his touchdowns were in 88.
Yeah.
So in that first year, that's where he did all of his magic. And then again, he just was never the same. Kept having ankle injuries, if I remember right. But again, it's been 40 years? 40 years later,
almost 40,
to it, and we're still talking about the Icky Shuffle. Like, he's still kind of relevant. And yeah, when you catch that lightning in a bottle, it's fun, and he was exciting to watch. And as a let's see, how old was I in '88? I don't know, a kid, as a 12-year-old.
I was 15, so you probably about 12, 13.
Yeah. So as a 12, 13-year-old kid, just getting into football, like really watching it, he was exciting. He helped make me a fan, but just because he was just so fun. So
it's funny you talk about that because today, where I work at, there was a guy that came in. He was a rep, like a salesman, and my boss man was talking to him. My boss man was on the podcast Monday night talking hockey, and my boss man had been talking to him about my podcast. And the guy came up to me and wanted to know about the podcast stuff, and I was like, I'm a big Steelers fan. He said, well, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I was a diehard Steelers fan. And we both were talking about the guy, my favorite Steeler of all time. And, I got the Polamalu jersey on, but my favorite Steeler of all time was Jack Ham.
Really?
Yes. And that guy was talking about, Jack Ham was it. And he was talking about him in high school. I said, that's what made me a fan, because you had to, back in the day, again, and I've got the helmet somewhere around here, the old Sears catalog kit you could get with the helmet with the Ken Anderson handlebar,
mm-hmm.
and then the jersey that your mom would have to stitch on the number and the name on the back. But I had to have 59. And man, you talking about getting out there. Some of my cousin next door was a Steelers fan too. We would get out there somewhere in these black jerseys, and I'm talking about that's when I first realized black absorbs heat.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, I burnt slam up. But dude, I still have that jersey right here. But I don't know where I've been with the helmet. It's somewhere around here. But that's guys like that. Like you talk about Icky making you a fan, Jack Ham, and that and now going back and being able to watch those teams again, just like on any night I want to, I can watch an old Steelers game with the steel curtain. It's so freaking awesome. But
for me, my favorite Steeler player of all time is Jack Lambert.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Lambert. See, that was my cousin. He wore 58. I wore 59.
Yeah,
but Lambert he didn't take no credit. And he was undersized.
He still doesn't take any shit. Oh yeah,
undersized. But you know what? I've come to realize the advantage he had. Not taking anything away from him as a linebacker, but when you got Mean Joe Green cleaning up for you up there, and Dwight White and Ernie Mills, I mean, you can keep clean with guys like that protecting you like that.
Yeah. The pride of Kent State. No, he was just absolutely a savage. Yeah. Savage. I love Jack Lambert.
Can you imagine what would happen today if somebody did what he did to Cliff Harris in that Super Bowl? I laugh every time I see that. I laugh. But you know what? He was like, "You're not gonna talk trash to one of my players."
Yeah.
And I think, and then later on in the next Super Bowl the Steelers played, Franco took up for Bradshaw, Hollywood Henderson. That was like, that's the difference nowadays, though. I mean, I could, and I know we're talking about the Bengals. We're not talking about the Steelers here, guys. This is the Bengals list. So
we gotta show some love to Ham and Lambert. That's enough of that shit.
Yeah. All right, my number 3,
mm-hmm.
and this is totally sentimental because when you hear this, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, why is this guy number 3 on your list?"
Yeah.
But we said favorite.
Yep.
I grew up watching this guy in college. He was part of my favorite college team. He had one of the incredible seasons in college football, probably our best season at East Carolina. He led the We Believe movement. We come from behind 34-17 in the Peach Bowl to beat NC State, our bitter rival. We beat them 37-34 on New Year's Day. Yeah, eat that up, State fans. Jeff Blake. Let me tell you, dude. When I saw him get a chance, at first I think he was with the Jets first. I think that's where because I don't think he got drafted. But then I think Coslett must have liked him with the Jets or something. And Coslett went to the Bengals, he brought Blake over.
God,
and then I see Blake
Coslett
getting in there. And for a season man, it was he was able to, with Pickens and Scott, he was bad for a little while, but then
he got bad.
Well, he was, and it killed me though later on in his career when he was playing with the Ravens. We've got to tear you up, dude. I mean, we've got look as far as ECU players go. Keaton Mitchell, who was a running back for the Ravens, and I do a ECU sports podcast with Kyle that's commenting here is one of my co-hosts on that. They asked me if you got to pull for the Ravens. Keaton Mitchell's on that. I said, no, I don't. I hope Keaton Mitchell has a good game, but I hope the Ravens lose. So
that's
I'm
right.
Not gonna do that. I'm sorry. I would probably pull for. Let me see. Did I pull for the Patriots? No, I may have pulled for the Ravens versus the Patriots a couple of times. That's the only time I'll ever pull for the Ravens. It has to be Tom Brady and Bill Belichick come back. Just the hatred there. I was like, but then again, I was like, I don't want to hear the damn Ravens fans talk about how they beat the Patriots.
Okay, real quick. Who are you rooting for first? And you have to pick one. The Ravens or the Browns?
Browns. That's easy. That's easy, dude. Because
they're both the Browns.
But you don't. I'll just give you a little background here. I have a local guy.
Mm-hmm.
He started out a Browns fan, before the Ravens came along. So then he switches over to the Ravens. And every year I hear this is their year. This is their year. I've heard rebuilding year. I've said, y'all been doing that for like 15 years now. He told me the last 3 years, and I tell him the same thing every time. Well, Super Bowl this year. I said, well, go ahead and buy your tickets because that's the only way you guys are getting there. So you got the best running back playing quarterback in football right now.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I can handle the Browns. Even after the whole thing with Myles Garrett trying to kill our quarterback with the helmet that year, I would still pull for the Browns over the Ravens because it's no threat. It's no threat.
Here's my problem. Browns fans are almost as annoying as most Steeler fans, where they get a little 1 or 2 game win streak on them, and they think they're invincible. They're little walking Supermans. Like, stop it. And it's
if we're going to get on how the Browns screw up stuff,
that's a whole other.
There's one thing I always go back to. And I think the guy's name was it Bobby Hoyer that was quarterbacking for them one year, or it was a Hoyer guy.
Yeah, it was Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer, starting quarterback for them. They had drafted Johnny Manziel, and but Hoyer had them right at the top of the division.
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget it because I was in the emergency room, waiting room with my dad on a Thursday night game. I think it may have been the Browns versus the Bengals. Hoyer didn't have the best game. I won't say he had a terrible game. He didn't have the best game. Bengals beat them. And they're still near the top of the division, still like a game out with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The next week, after one bad game, they bench Hoyer and put Johnny Manziel in. And I know what it was for. They wanted to sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about screwing up your season, they went down like the Titanic after that. I mean, it was terrible. And that's one of those stories. And then I go with Baker Mayfield. Cleveland fans, your front office is so stupid that they don't realize Baker Mayfield's out there with a freaking harness on his shoulder. Not his throwing shoulder, but that's going to affect your throwing. He's still out there trying to give everything he has for you guys. Doesn't have the best year, but guess what? He can get healthy, and look what he does now. And look what the hell you've gone through at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your front office is so stupid. And don't even get me started about Deshaun Watson. I mean, that's
Ooh, yeah,
that's a 30 for 30 waiting to happen right there. Jesus.
guaranteed.
Yeah, so number 3 for me, I'm glad you weren't taking a drink then because you probably would spit it.
Yeah.
That's a jet play. But
Old
yeah,
chap.
that's number 3 for me. So what's
Okay.
your number 2?
My number 2, I'm deviating a little bit, though he was technically a player for 2 years. He is mostly known as being their coach. My favorite Bengals coach of all time, the saucy Sam Weish, my guy.
Definitely.
Every year or so, I turn on that whole thing where that game where the Bengals fans are throwing snowballs for no reason, like just because. And he's like, no, I want to talk to him. And like the announcing booth has no idea what's going on, and he just rips into the fans. And what's funny is the fans were like, yeah, like he's giving us a new asshole. Yeah.
Yeah, they loved it.
That's how over he was.
Yeah, definitely.
And honest to God, like Sam Weish, even after his tenure with the Bengals was done, did a lot of great work. Always had a lot of love for Cincinnati. Yeah, great guy.
Yeah,
lots of fun, lots of fire. He's my number 2.
Yeah. But get some comments, Keith Hall. 70 Steelers, those guys would go to war for each other.
Absolutely,
and
Keith.
One of my players that I coached, Aiden Buert, he's a Tampa Bay fan. We thank the Browns for the Baker situation. You should. You definitely should.
Yeah.
So number 2 for me, and this is a guy that, I mean, definitely he's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
He was there. I mean, when you think of Cincinnati Bengals, this guy should be like your poster guy for the Cincinnati Bengals. And I mean, he come from, Anthony Munoz. And I don't have my stuff pulled up for him for some reason, but man, I mean, what a stalwart for the Bengals. He was there for, God, it felt like forever. It felt like he was never going to leave.
I think it was like 15, 17 seasons, something like that.
And no rumors ever come up about him wanting to leave.
No.
He was a lifetime Bengal. Let's see. I'm pulling it up right here now. Sorry about this, guys. 13 seasons.
Yeah.
He was voted by ESPN the greatest offensive tackle in NFL history.
Yeah.
So, Boomer had that guy out there. He didn't have to worry about it. I mean, look at the accolades here. Oh, he never played for, but he was an all-season practice squad member for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
93. Wow. That's played 185 games, started 182.
Wow.
6 fumble recoveries. You guys must have, terrible on offense, dude. But yeah, he was just like I said, he was Mr. Bengal. He should be the guy that everybody thinks of when they think of Cincinnati Bengals. If you're from that era, like me and you were, Anthony Rios is my number 2.
Yeah, Anthony did not make my list, but not because he's not a great player. Like he just didn't. He didn't bring a lot of attention to himself, and I think as a player in general, as a teammate, you want that. But definitely, I would if I was ever building an offensive line, he's on it 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so the moment of truth.
Yes, sir.
Number 1. I don't have any idea who this could be.
You don't have no clue. I'm sure you do. Okay, listen. As a young, blonde-haired, left-handed kid with a weird name, it was my first name wasn't nearly as weird as Norman, but
the reason they call him Boomer.
That's right. The man who is statistically better than Phil Simms by a long shot with 247 touchdowns, almost 38,000 yards, the Boomer Esiason. The man I loved his work on the NFL Today. I love him. I loved him as a Jet. Like he was one of those players like wherever he went, I went. Yeah. Now I never like
come on,
loved the Jets. No. But I did like Joe Namath and I love Boomer. And one of these days I'd hope to really meet Boomer and just, thank him for everything he did for that team. And he actually came back in '97. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. Because he spent time with the Jets. I think he had a little time with Arizona, and then he came back to the Bengals.
Yep. And it was it's like we all knew it wasn't going to be the same Boomer, obviously, but it was a little bit of comfort. Like, I don't care if it's for 1 year. Like, it's just good to have him back.
It felt good to have him back. A lot of people, and he just had a few minutes there. I didn't realize talking about people coming back, like Plaxico.
Yeah,
Plaxico came back to Pittsburgh for like a little part of a year. Before, I don't know if that was before it after he shot himself in the nightclub. That had to be while he was still with the Giants, though. But Boomer, I had watched Boomer a lot, being from this area. ACC football game of the week and playing at Maryland. And I know Stabler was a definitive left-hand quarterback, but I didn't see a lot of Stabler as a kid. I mean,
right.
But Boomer, I thought it was so funny. It was so weird watching a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah.
But man, could he could throw the ball.
Dude, watch him. If you watch some of his highlights and stuff, like the way he would roll out of the pocket.
Yeah.
Like everything looks ass backwards. Like it just looks wonky, but man, some of those passes he made to McGee and Collinsworth. There was this great 4th and 23 against the Bears, where dude he just threw it on a dime, and it was just. I mean, Boomer was the freaking man. Boomer's the man.
Speaking of hated Bengals, you just mentioned one of them that I would have on my list right there.
Collinsworth.
You want to talk about this guy? Let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about Pat Mahomes. He just took a dump, and it was the best dump I've ever seen. Jesus Christ! I have to turn I have to turn the volume down when he's up there. God, I'm sorry, but ooh. And he hates the Steelers too. I mean, you can tell. I mean, that's the thing. You can tell.
Yeah.
He hates the Steelers. That's fine. We hate Collinsworth.
Like Collinsworth, I don't get it. Like I don't. I could, if I never heard from him again, I'd be all right.
Well, unfortunately, that's not going to happen because
Right.
he's always going to be on Sunday night. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh, Tarico, I feel so bad for Tarico every Sunday night.
Tarico's a pro, man.
Tarico and Mel getting off. I know we get off subject a little bit here, but Tarico, man, to go from the Super Bowl and then that night leave and go to Italy for the Olympics and do the coverage he did at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Tarico is a pro. I love Tarico. But all right, so my number one. This is going to surprise you too, but this is kind of biased because he came on the show. And
okay.
he's the only Bengal I've ever had on the show. So, and he was great. I mean, this guy was, after the show, we were messaging back and forth. And he was just like, man, had such a good time. Wants to come back and do a music part show. He's a big New Edition fan. And wants to do a New Edition top 10. So we talked about that night on the show. So Carl Pickens.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've got the whole. Why you guys didn't win a Super Bowl with Darnay Scott, Carl Pickens, and Jeff Blake?
Because of Jeff Blake.
Anyway,
all roads end in Jeff Blake.
But this guy, man, he was just a great receiver.
Yeah.
He killed us, and we talked about that game. He killed us by himself one day. He was beating. It wasn't like he was beating backups. He was beating people like Cornell Lake, Rod Woodson, Darren Perry. And I watched a lot of his games at University of Tennessee. We talked about that on the show. The one classic game against Notre Dame where he had a great game there. But man, just one of the nicest guys because he didn't know me from Adam. And as soon as I asked him, he was like, "Heck yeah, let's do it." He said, well, "When you ready?"
That's cool.
So yeah, but Pickens, I got him as my favorite Bengal, and that's if you want any of you guys want to move up on the list, just contact us and we'll get you on the show, and maybe you can move up the list. All of you, Icky. I don't have any cold cuts, but you can come on the show. But so looking at the list, we'll see how many repeats we have. Pete Johnson, James Brooks, Joe Burrow, Icky Woods, four differences there. So I think I did pretty good for not a Bengals fan at all, but
you represented well. Now, if you want, I can send you a Bengals hat in the mail and get.
The only way I would take it if it was one of those with the stripes, it would have to be the coolest Bengals hat.
Oh yeah.
And I would put it up here. I don't think I'd wear it. I just have it for display. I would have to lose a bet to you to wear it. I'll put it that way.
We might make that happen.
So let's we talked about this. Now,
yes,
Bengals didn't have the greatest year this year. Injuries,
that's correct.
Injuries and pretty much non-existent defense. What do you think the outlook is for them? What do they need to do here? Because you got your one defensive player is talking about he wants out. Was it Hendrickson? I think.
I think so.
He wants out, and he wants to be paid or he wants out. So you got to make a decision there with him.
I mean, here's the deal. You remember how earlier I said, with Browns fans, they get a couple little wins under their belt and they think they're king shit. Us Bengals fans, we're the exact opposite. We could be in the AFC Championship and we're just waiting. Like, I know we're going to screw this up. So like, there's no like eternal optimism as a Bengals fan. No, the defense is still going to suck. Burrow is a huge question mark.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Do I have any confidence that Mike Brown and family is going to make some great, free agency thing to get like a really good backup quarterback in case Burrow can't go? No. So And again, the division, it's going to be interesting because I think on paper, more than likely the Ravens are probably going to win the division. Who knows what's going to go on with the Steelers? I mean, that's a huge question. I mean,
Yeah,
I
really.
think the Steelers have just as much, maybe even more question marks than what the Bengals do. And you got the Browns.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's the Browns.
Yeah,
Like
there's
that's
the Browns.
and then there's Maud, and then there's the Browns.
No, I mean, at this point, would I be, I wouldn't be surprised with like a 7-9, maybe an 8-8. They're going to be a mediocre team unless something magical happens with Burrow, and unless they can fill some much needed holes in that defense, which I don't have any confidence they're going to.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. This draft is this, with the situation with the defense. This needs to be a defensive draft for the Bengals, no doubt. I mean, you've got weapons on offense. I mean, Gesicki at tight end is a decent tight end. He got Noah Fant backing him up. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
Yep.
Chase Brown at running back. I mean,
Chase Brown's good.
He did good. He had a good season. But don't you think you guys need to focus on this defense, right?
No, I think that's again, depending on how Burrow is doing. Who's the backup quarterback?
Right now, I don't know if he's a free agent, but on the depth chart at the end of the year, Flacco was the backup. I don't think he's.
Yeah.
Then you got Jake Browning.
And he was awful.
Yeah, he was terrible.
Terrible. Like, he had no business being on the field.
Yeah.
None. So yeah, I think you got to get a younger backup quarterback, and it's probably going to have to be somebody from the draft. And then you got to work on that defense, because at least if you got a good defense, it'll keep you in the game.
I'll tell you exactly what you guys need to do at quarterback. Bengals need to make the call to Carolina and have the Red Rifle finish his career in Cincinnati.
Where's Vinny Testaverde? Can we? I'll dig him up. Give me Steve DeBerg.
Steve DeBerg could probably still play quarterback right now.
Yeah.
That guy. I mean, I watched that old game of his the other day, and he's got a daggum cast on his hand about twice the size of his whole arm, and he's still out there playing quarterback. This day and time, no quarterback would do that. They'd be like, "You crazy? You think, what are you thinking?" DeBerg was one of those quarterbacks that not a lot of people talk about, but man, the guy was tough, and he had that resurgence with Kansas City at the end of his career.
Mm-hmm.
I've got nothing but respect for DeBerg, especially after the cast thing. That was like, how in the world are you carrying that thing around? It's got to weigh you down. I got to ask you this.
Yes.
I'm taking you're from Ohio. You're an Ohio State fan, right?
Yes.
What is your thought? Because I'm not on the fence anymore about it. I think I want to see what he's got. Will Howard as the NFL quarterback.
Oof.
What do you think?
I
think he deserves a shot just to see, because during camp he was injured during camp and preseason last year. Mm-hmm. We didn't get to see him in preseason. Now I just want to see, maybe if he's got anything. I mean, with Rodgers possibly coming back, and I mean
Rodgers is gone.
Yeah, no,
he's done.
The more I'm hearing, it's more than likely he's going to be back with Pittsburgh. I'm telling you.
Gross.
I'm telling you.
Gross. I mean, good for us, but ugh.
You should be saying, yeah, good.
Yeah.
That's why I want Dalton back in Cincinnati.
Well, I'm sure you do.
Burrow said, "Oh, I'm hurt." And Dalton in and leads y'all to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'd rather I think Rex Grossman has a better chance to do that.
Yeah, you talk about somebody getting in the Super Bowl and people
Had no business being in the damn
business
Super
being
Bowl.
there. No business. That was all Bears defense.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
that was.
that would be a good episode. Like quarterbacks that had no business being in a Super Bowl.
Trent Dilfer. And
Yes.
he won it. I mean, but anybody could have quarterback. Well, except Tony Banks. Anybody but Tony Banks could have quarterbacked the Ravens that year and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Evidently, Banks had no business doing it.
No, I agree. No, back to Will Howard though. I mean, look, do I think he's a day one starter anywhere? No, but man, the kid's got heart. He's got good football sense. I think,
he's a big dude too.
Yeah, I think if he's put on the right team in the right situation, he could eventually get into being a decent NFL quarterback. But no, I don't see him lighting it on fire first year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I hear people through social media and some of the people that watch the practices and stuff talk about maybe they should give him a shot. And I think one of the things they're falling in love with is the fact that he's a big quarterback, and they're thinking Ben was a big quarterback, but Ben was something different there too. I don't know because the more I'm hearing every day is Rodgers is more than likely to come back with the Steelers. So
he has nothing else to prove. I mean, what?
Well, he keeps saying he felt a resurgence and like he wanted to play again when he was with Pittsburgh. After 2 years with the Jets, anybody would probably be better unless you play in Cleveland. So yeah, that probably would make me feel better about my situation if I left the Jets and went to any other team but Cleveland. But I don't know. I mean, we have no plan. We had no plan last year.
No.
And that's what kills me about the front office right now. We had no plan in place at quarterback. Fields left, which went to the Jets. That was dumb.
Yeah.
But then Russell Wilson, of course, goes to the Giants, and we had pretty much no choice but to. I mean, I wasn't crazy about that to start with, but he did okay. He's just not mobile at all anymore.
No.
And and we have got to get wide receiver help. I mean, DK is not a number one wide receiver in my mind. Not anymore. Unless he shows me something this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's Steelers, so your defense is always going to be in the mix, but you can't depend on your defense as currently constructed to take you to the playoffs, or especially make a deep run. You can't.
Nope. I mean, you got to have. You can't score single digits or just over 10 points and win playoff games anymore. It's not going to happen, and that's the mindset that we're in. I mean, and our defense wasn't what we paid for last year either.
Yeah,
I mean, because we let Joe Flacco with the Bengals put 40-some points on us last year. That was ridiculous. So yeah,
he put some extra biofreeze and he just went at it.
Jesus Christ! And I think Flacco, if he's a free agent, we should sign him so he can say he played for all 4 teams in the AFC North. So
please, you can take him. It's fine.
If Flacco shows up in a Pittsburgh jersey, I'm liable to get a Flacco Pittsburgh jersey and just wear it with all the Ravens fans around here.
Yeah, dude, there are certain players I don't want on my team because they're part of Flacco is always going to be a Raven. I have no interest in him being on my team. I would never buy a Flacco jersey.
That's like Pac-Man. If we, for some reason, would ever sign Pac-Man, I would have been or Vontae. or any of the Terrell Suggs.
Yeah.
No. And I mean, not taking anything away from his player, but I absolutely despised him. But
Yep.
anyway, Roethlisberger as a Bengal, would you have?
No. No.
Oh Lord. Well, I would have took Boomer as a Steeler. I would have took Boomer. I would take Burrow, that's for sure. But anyway. So next week Bruce will be back with us with his partner in crime. We'll get in it. You'll hear more about that next week as we go on. That'll be on the fly, on the fly podcast. That'll be a whole different subject, and it should be a good. We'll probably have another guest, I think, too. With that. So we'll see Bruce again next week, and before we get out of here, tell us where they can find your podcast at, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find Hooked On Sonix anywhere you get your favorite podcast. Spotify, Apple. We got some YouTube going on. If you want to talk to us, you reach out to us directly. We're on the Facebook, Instagram. We got the X. Yeah, we're on all that good stuff.
You haven't hit Blue Sky yet, have you?
No,
I
haven't
don't either. I don't know about Blue Sky.
I'm good.
But yeah, I am doing a little more. I am doing some stuff on TikTok now that I think they've got that situation in hand. So I am posting some videos out of old wrestling videos too. Hint. Old wrestling, like 85, 86 Crockett era. That's your era,
stuff.
right?
That's one of my eras.
Yes.
That's beautiful stuff.
That was my era right there. But you may hear us talk a little bit more about that in the coming in the future about some wrestling stuff. Who knows?
That's right.
But, all right, guys. Bruce, thank you so much for coming on, guys. That'll mark one of these teams off my list. I'm sure Tony will be on here to do his Ravens list, and I dread that. Sorry, Tony, but yeah, I will be doing Sign of the Cross.
A lot of Hail Marys.
Throwing up holy water everywhere and all of that before that episode happens. And I'm going to be wearing one of these to try to ward off evil forces when that happens.
If that's the case, I might wear one too, just because.
But guys, like I said, Bruce, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you, man.
It's been a blast, and we'll see you again next week. Hopefully everything will work out where we can do that again next week. But you guys have a great night. This has been our top 10 favorite Cincinnati Bengals. Share your thoughts with us. I mean, Kyle, thank you, Kyle, for sharing yours. Brian Pillman did not make our list, or Susanna Hoffs, but Jeff Blake made one of our lists.
Susanna Hoff made a different list.
Yeah, Susanna Hoffs would definitely be on a different list for me.
Yes.
But anyway, guys, you guys have a great night. We'll see you next time on the Final Score.
Who day?
Who they think we do? We day.